For the breakdown, former Broncos wide receiver Brandon Stokley joining us today. Tough loss for the Broncos. Go into Kansas City, only lose by 7, though. Can they at least hang their hat on something that happened today?
Absolutely. Look, defense hung in there, played a really good halfway through the third quarter and fourth quarter. Offensively, I mean, they ran the ball. Devontae Booker looked great. Philip Lindsay keeps impressing. So they did a lot of really positive things, just too many mistakes, though. But, yes, a lot to be positive about in the game, but, you know, ultimately you lost.
Well, Chiefs are obviously dynamic. I think if you had gone into the game and said, hey, Sammy Watkins is going to be your leading receiver, Broncos probably would have taken it. Problem is he got in the end zone twice. What did you make of what the Chiefs were able to do against the Broncos today?
Well, I thought the Broncos' game plan was solid. You know, you want to try to take away Kareem Hunt. You want to try to take away Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, and they were able to do that for the most part. Sammy Watkins, the last guy on that list, was the guy that hurt him. So ultimately, I thought the Broncos' defense did a good enough job to give this football team a chance to win. Just way too many mistakes.
30 points, and we talked about this on our post-game special. 30 points. That's not too much to ask from your offense, is
No,
it?
it's not, especially against a Kansas City defense, which is not very good. And you had a turnover on top of that, the Broncos defense did. So that's not too much to ask. You knew going into this game, if you were the Broncos offense, that you were going to have to score a lot of points. And it was doable today. They had plenty of opportunities to go out there and get the job done. But once again, way too many mistakes.
When you look at this Broncos offensive line, how can they get better? Obviously, injuries have really kind of decimated them. You got Ron Leary, who's out for the season. Jared Valdir missed his 4th consecutive game today. That offensive line, some glaring issues up front. Get
back to technique work. You just can't grab and hold. Can't have penalties. So you just get back to work and practice and work on your technique, work on your fundamentals. You know, you're going to give up some sacks, but the holding calls and the penalties, especially when you have big plays, you just can't have those things.
You're a wide receiver. I want to know your take on...
I was.
You were a pretty good one, too. A couple Super Bowl rings to his name. I want to know your take on this receiving core and where they go. I thought Cortland Sutton was really, really strong today.
Yeah, I mean, that catch he made right before half was, wow, unbelievable. But that's what we've been seeing throughout the course of the offseason and training camp. So that was nice to see. Love the depth that they have. They're playmakers. They got great depth from 1 to 6. And, you know, you just got to continue to try to find ways to get these guys the ball. And they'll start seeing favorable matchups, one-on-one coverages, because teams will start loading the box more and more because of how much success this Broncos team has had running the football.
We've talked a lot about the Broncos rookie class, and obviously the future looks bright for them. The future for Kansas City looks scary if you're a Broncos fan. They're sitting there, not just this season where they're 7-1 and atop the AFC West. This Patrick Mahomes kid and this offense, we're going to be talking about him for years to come.
They're going to be around for a while. A lot of young, talented football players. So it's a scary thought to be thinking about Patrick Mahomes for the next 10 years.
3-5 is where the Broncos sit right now. They had the win over Arizona, obviously come back, follow that up with a loss to Kansas City today. They got Houston coming in next week, and then the bye. Sitting at 3-5, the numbers aren't good. Since 1990, teams that are 3-5 only make the playoffs 8% of the time. You're not guaranteeing a playoff push, but you say there still is a lot to play for.
Absolutely. But the Houston game is a must-win. At home, before your bye, you get back to 4-5, and you look at the rest of their schedule down the stretch. There's a lot of winning games that you can go out there and win. So the season's not over by any means, but you got to go out there and you got to play a good football game against Houston that has a really good defense, and they got a dynamic quarterback, and they got not Sammy Watkins. They got this DeAndre Hopkins on the outside. So you got your hands full with that offense and that defense, but you've got to find a way to beat the Houston Texans next week.
You get that done, and then you look at the rest of that schedule. You got Cleveland on there. You got San Francisco. There are some ways they could turn this season around. We will see if they can get it done. Stoke, thanks so much for stopping by. As always, enjoy you. Hey, much more.